Over the course of several presidential administrations, valuable art was donated to the White House by prominent American artists. Before leaving the White House, Hillary shipped 70 of those pieces of art to the Presidential Library in Little Rock. And in the closing days of Bill Clinton's presidency, Hillary began shipping tens of thousands of dollars worth of furniture to her $1.7 million home in Chappaqua, New York. This was government property that had been donated as part of a $400,000 White House decoration project in 1993. In the last hours of his presidency, Clinton shocked America by commuting 36 prison sentences and handing out 140 pardons to a collection of crooks, some of whom had been part of the Arkansas underworld. Said one television commentator, "Not since the opening of the gates of the Bastille have so many criminals been liberated on a single day." Hugh Rodham, Hillary's brother, had arranged pardons for a notorious drug dealer and a swindler after the two men gave him $400,000 in payoffs. Also outrageous was the pardon of Mark Rich, a fugitive who had renounced his citizenship and fled the country to escape prosecution on tax fraud and racketeering charges. His ex-wife, Denise, had become a major Democratic donor just prior to this pardon, giving $1 million to the Democratic Party and an enormous sum to the Clinton Library. Susan Rosenberg was a member of the Weather Underground, one of the most violent left-wing militias of the 1960s and 1980s. Rosenberg's gang held up a Brinks truck, killing a guard and 2 police officers. They bombed the U.S. Capitol as well as various other targets throughout Washington and New York. In 1984, police caught Rosenberg at a warehouse in New Jersey, where she was unloading 640 pounds of explosives, enough to create a Holocaust of Oklahoma City proportions. She was given the maximum sentence of 58 years. Bill Clinton pardoned her, as well as her partner, Linda Sue Evans, who had also been convicted in the plot to bomb the U.S. Capitol. The list of Clinton's last-minute pardons included small and big-time crooks, con men, bank robbers, drug smugglers, terrorists, relatives, ex-girlfriends, perjurers, tax evaders, money launderers, and international fugitives. A lawyer who fielded many of the pardon applications said, quote, "I think Clinton wanted to pardon all of them, and that he just can't stand law enforcement," unquote. Democratic Governors Gray Davis of California and Jim Hodges of South Carolina both said the pardons were serious mistakes. And Democratic Senator Tom Harkin of Iowa said there was no excuse for what Clinton did. Democratic Senator Joe Biden said, "I think the president had an incredible lapse in memory, or was brain dead." Democrat Senator Zen Miller stated that it was a tremendous mistake on Clinton's part. And Jerry Brown, former Democratic governor of California, said he must have sugar plums dancing in his head. Liberal New York Times columnist Bob Herbert wrote, quote, "The Democratic Party overlooked the ethical red flags and made a pact with Mr. Clinton that was the equivalent of a pact with the devil." And he delivered. With Mr. Clinton at the controls, the party won the White House twice, but in the process, it lost its bearings and maybe even its soul, unquote. Andrew Sullivan, writing in the New Republic, wrote, quote, "In Bill Clinton, we had for 8 years a truly irrational person in the White House, someone who, I think, lived on the edge of serious mental illness. He was and is a psychologically sick man." And he concluded, Clinton was not psychologically healthy enough to have been President of the United States, unquote. The liberal London-based Economist came up with another explanation, quote, that Mr. Clinton was too dishonest an individual to be trusted with the presidency, however clever he might be, unquote.